Thank you so much. So that song was Lou Reed, Take a Walk on the Wild Side. And if I could just give that song some context, I was living on Hyde and Turk, and I had a first date with this guy, and he was like, "That's my favorite song. He's like, this is my favorite song," and he started playing it. And if you know the lyrics, I was like, oh my God, so he's gonna be totally down with the tea, I thought. But actually, no, he actually really liked the musicality of that song, and so hilarity ensued. But we were together for 2 years until, I discovered that he was cheating on me. And so then there was another song, which was I Left My Heart in San Francisco. But hey, it happens. But that was 36 years ago, which is amazing how long ago that was. And it's amazing how time flies when you're being discriminated for being trans, or when you discover that there's no legal protections. And so you and your friends get together and said, let's go fight for equal opportunities. And we did, and we made huge gains. At least in Hawaii, we actually passed protections in all the areas of civil rights law: housing, employment, public accommodations, family relationships. We did a lot. And just when you feel like, oh, we're done, then Trump gets reelected, and you realize that you're the top of the hit list for his manifesto, and suddenly it's deja vu all over again. Seriously, we made huge gains. We had transgender troops who were able to serve their country with valor and be recognized. And in Hawaii, we had a choice of not just male or female M or F, but we could also choose an X marker on your driver's license. I mean, little things like that. And I have a daughter, and when she was in preschool, we got to the point where she was able to have a non-binary imaginary friend, which was great that she had the language and the understanding and made space and held space for choosing quality friends. So even though that person was imaginary, but it's okay, it was part of her dialogue. My daughter just turned 13, and she's tiny, but she's also really mighty. Because she's so small, she can actually pass as like 6 years old, and she really works it, because she's discovered that if people think she's really young, she can get away with a lot of obnoxious behavior. It's just everyone cuts her a lot of slack. It's quite amazing. And then, so what she does is she kind of gets in there, she wheedles in there like really under the radar, and then suddenly she pulls these ninja moves, and then she's smoking a cigar like Baby Herman. She has that kind of effect. In fact, when we do a lot of, as you saw in the pictures, we've been going to the women's marches and Black Lives Matter and gun control, and more recently, obviously, marches against xenophobia, against ICE, raids, a lot of marches. And being a tiny person, those aren't comfortable spaces, right? You saw the Black Lives Matter. She's tiny, but when I tell her there might be counter protesters there, she gets so excited. She loves to take on the counter protesters and get in their face and yell things at them. I mean, it's amazing how she's like, oh, I don't want to go, but I'm like, there's counter protesters. And she thinks of all the things she wants to say to them, which is really incredible. And normally, I would tell my friends, oh, don't bother with the counter protesters. Like, don't waste your time. You're just making their day. But with her, I'm like, go ahead and do it. Because, what are they going to say to her? She passes like as 6 years old, but she's saying all these amazing things. So it's kind of brilliant. And I just let her do her thing. And she knows what's going on, because when we are driving around in a car and she's getting tired of me singing to us whatever's on the radio, she's like, okay, it's time for NPR. Like, can you change this channel? So she's really knowledgeable of what's happening, and it's really great. And she's not here tonight, because if she were, she would be heckling me. She would literally leave the table and come and stand right here and say things like, my mom's so soft, she has a big belly, she has, it's really funny, she just says all these random things just to embarrass me. And then in Hawaii, because I'm a state representative, we live in the district, so there's a lot of people who come up to me when we're out, and she hates it. And so she'll basically try to handle me out of the space, or she'll be like my bouncer or something, and she'll literally tell them, okay, thank you, bye. She'll just excuse them. And it's, but what I really love is that, that she always brings that kind of, she knows what she wants. And so it's interesting. So when I compare and I think about the activism that I've been involved with over 3.5 decades, and now seeing distraught citizens that I see at the No Kings rally, and so many people. So now, at first when I became an activist, it was mostly just LGBT issues, trans issues. It was a way smaller group of people. But now it's like tens of thousands of people. And I'm like, welcome. I made some punch and have a poo-poo platter. Thank you for joining in on this fight for people's rights and for each other. And it's just so incredibly beautiful. And I really appreciate all of that camaraderie, because it was, in the past, it felt like just when you connect to activism from this kind of victim thing, it feels very defensive, like, no, I'm a survivor, pride is resistance, joy is liberation. There's this kind of defensiveness that requires somebody to actively try to oppress you all the time. And what I compare that to now is with my daughter. It's not like, I feel like a lot of what she's doing, she's just like claiming space, like she just comes to the table like, I'm meant to have this access, and I'm meant to be here and here and here, and it's just wonderful to see and to compare that juxtaposition of what fuels her versus what fueled me. And so now I think about what happened with the elections across the country in this past week, and how all of the people who weren't endorsed by Trump are actually winning elections, and that gives me hope and optimism. And yes, because it's exhausting, having to fight all these battles, and we need more people elected into office who are going to have the courage to stand up to all kinds of things. And so I look forward to the day when I get to step aside I got to speak to some students earlier, and they're amazing, and I look forward to standing aside for them. And we should just support succession planning and making way for new voices and strong leadership, and people who just didn't grow up with this idea of we're just only going to define ourselves by our oppression, but by our vision and by our hope and what we can have that everyone should have. Yes. Thank you. And it's, I just want to say that it's an incredible honor to stand alongside such incredible leaders and people who serve the community in the ways that you do. It's quite an honor. So thank you so much for this opportunity to share a little bit about myself with all of you, and for having this amazing opportunity. Thank you so much.